Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our English class. My name is Miss Balanzo, and today I'm going to explain about the adverbs of frequency. So I'm going to share a screen. Oops. Okay. Oh my God. All right. So how often do you use the adverbs of frequency? First of all, what are adverbs of frequency? The adverbs of frequency are those words that you use to show how many times or how frequent something happens. Always, never, occasionally, sometimes, seldom, usually, etc., etc. Hardly ever, and others. So this week's topic, we're gonna talk about how often do you do things and what are our adverbs of frequency. I'm gonna go to the grammar, voy a ir a la gramática. Here. Okay, so grammar. I'm gonna explain about the adverbs of frequency. Vamos a hacer una explicación del tema 3 de esta semana, los adverbios de frecuencia, esas palabritas que usamos para identificar cuánto o cada cuánto pasa algo, una acción. So, our adverbs are always, usually, normally, often, sometimes, occasionally, hardly ever, never. Hay más adverbios de frecuencia, pero por el momento vamos a aprender estos. Right? So, empezamos with always. Always. Something that happens all the time. Algo que pasa todo el tiempo. 100% of your time. Algo que pasa el 100% de tu tiempo. I always drink water. Yo siempre tomo agua. I always brush my teeth. Siempre me lavo la boca. I always have a shower. Tomo una ducha. I always eat my breakfast. Siempre tengo mi desayuno o como mi desayuno. So, next one is usually. Usualmente. Usually. Something that happens 90% of your time. 90% de las veces pasa. Alright? So, I usually drive home. I usually drive home. Right? I usually take the bus. Usualmente tomo el bus. I usually call my mom. I usually call my mom. Right? 90% of the times this happens. All right? Normally, 75% of your time. 75% de las veces pasa esto. All right? So I normally don't play like this. Normally, I don't play like this. Normalmente yo no juego así. All right? Or I normally wake up at 7. Right? Okay, often. Often. Usual. It's not like usual, but it's like less. 65% of your time. I often sing in the shower. Yo, seguidamente, canto en la ducha. Right? Sometimes, algunas veces, sometimes, 40% of the time, not always, but half of your time. Sometimes I eat veggies. Algunas veces yo como vegetales. Sometimes I eat veggies. Occasionally, occasionally, ocasionalmente. Focus on the pronunciation, nos enfocamos un poquito en la pronunciación porque es un poquitín difícil. Occasionally. Occasionally. Alright? Quiero que repitan en sus casitas ahí. Occasionally. Occasionally. This means ocasionalmente. Right? 40% of the time. 40% de su tiempo puede que pase. Right? I go to the cinema occasionally, or occasionally I go to the cinema. Ocasionalmente yo voy al cine. Right? Next one, hardly ever. Hardly ever. Casi nunca. Casi nunca. Hardly ever. I hardly ever help to clean the house. Casi muy rara vez o casi nunca ayudo a limpiar mi casa. Hardly ever. I hardly ever go to parties. Casi nunca voy a fiestas. I hardly ever go to school. All right? So hardly ever, casi nunca. And the last one, never, never. O sea, nunca pasa. It never happens at all. All right? For example, I never lie. Yo nunca miento. That's a lie. Right? I never lie. I never smoke cigarettes. I never smoke. Or I never dance. Nunca bailo. Que no me gusta, no sé. All right? So this is how we use adverbs of frequency. Nuestros adverbios de frecuencia los usamos casi siempre, hardly ever, no, always, most of the time, para hacer saber cada cuánto pasa una acción. How often does something happen? So in our worksheet today, we have some questions, right? What is something that you always do? ¿Qué es algo que usted siempre hace? What is something that you always do? Piensen en sus casitas y responden ahí para ustedes. What is something that you always do? Something that I always do is brush my teeth. I always brush my teeth, right? What is something, que es algo, that you usually do in your free time? ¿Qué es algo que usted usualmente hace en su tiempo libre? In my free time, I usually take a nap, right? What, next question. Where do you often go on vacations? ¿A dónde usted va a vacaciones usualmente? I usually go to the beach. I usually, or I go to the beach some often. All right? What is something that you never do around your parents? What is something you never do around your parents? ¿Qué es algo que usted nunca hace cerca de sus papás? Right? I never scream around my dad or my mom. Yo nunca grito cerca de mis papás. Right? What do you usually do in the morning to get ready? ¿Qué hace usted usualmente en las mañanas para prepararse, para estar listo? I usually have a quick shower and wear my makeup, right? Me tomo una ducha, usualmente tomo duchas y me arreglo, right? What is something that you rarely eat during winter? Es algo que usted raramente come en invierno. An ice cream, un helado, sería raro, right? What type of music do you normally listen to? What type of music do you normally listen to? ¿Qué tipo de música normalmente escuchas? When do you generally get up? ¿Cuándo se levanta por lo general? I normally get up at 6 o'clock, right? Nuestras casitas pensamos nuestras respuestas usando nuestros adverbios de frecuencia. Right. Today I'm going to use someone's help. Voy a usar la ayuda de algún estudiante hoy para nuestra clase para que nos respondan nuestras preguntitas. So, who wants to answer the first question? ¿Quién quiere responder la primera pregunta? Me levanta la manita y yo quito el mute. Our first question is, what is something that you usually do in your free time? ¿Qué es algo que usted usualmente hace en su tiempo libre? What is something that you do in your free time? Tengo uno, all right, so.
My free time, I play Xbox and play Free Fire.
All right, perfect. Thank you. So who else? ¿Quién más? Who else? What is something that you usually do in your free time? What is something that you usually do in your free time? Laura, all right.
In my free time, I dance.
In your free time, you dance. Thank you, great. All right, now, what is something that you always do? What is something that you always do? Que es algo que usted siempre hace. I always kiss my mom. I always kiss my mom. Who wants to try?
I always play football.
You always play football. Perfect. Who else? ¿Quién más? Andrés. All right.
I always play with my brother.
You always play with your brother. All right, perfect. So, we use adverbs of frequency to let people know how often an action happens. Usamos los adverbios de frecuencia para dar información de cada cuánto pasa algo. Right? Okay, so we're gonna practice our pronunciation in our speaking. So we have a dialogue here between Brooklyn and Mark. Who wants to read the dialogue? Who wants to be Brooklyn and who wants to be Mark? ¿Quién quiere ser Brooklyn y who wants to be Mark? ¿Quién quiere ser Mark? Right, we have Mark and we have Brooklyn. All right, so Santiago, you're gonna be Brooklyn, and Miguel, you're gonna be Mark.
Why did you tell Patty I am always thinking about him? Why? I will never. I never said that. He promised. Ha! He talked to me and asked me why he always talked about. I am sorry, Amy. No, I remember, but it was a mistake. I don't do it a promise. You know what? I don't believe you never say. Come on, bro. I talking to him and see if I can do sometimes. No, don't do anything anyway, buddy. Hurry, elsewhere my message. Oh, that's sad. Sorry, man.
All right, thank you. So the idea with our dialogues is for you to identify our adverbs of frequency. La idea con nuestros diálogos es que identifiquemos nuestros adverbios de frecuencia. So, for example, here we have Brooklyn and Mark. Brooklyn said, why did you tell Patty I'm always talking about him? Nuestro primer adverbio, always. I am always talking. Siempre estoy hablando, right? Mark says, what? I never said. Yo nunca le diría. I never said that. Nunca dije. I never. Yo nunca. Brooklyn says, ha! He talked to me and asked me why am I always. I always. Igual que el anterior, yo siempre. Here we have anyway, Patty hardly answered my messages. Patty hardly answered my messages. Patty muy rara vez contesta mis mensajes. All right. So we're gonna practice our pronunciation with the WH questions. Why? Voy a subrayar nuestras pronunciaciones que debemos practicar. Why? Always. Always. Would. 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 Right? Remember. Remember. Change. Cambiar. Change. Bro. Bro. Bro means amigo, como hermano. Aquí en Colombia le llamamos nuestros parceros. Bro. Come on, bro. Oh, vamos, amigo. Vamos, parce. Bro. Okay? Anyways. Hardly. Messages. Right? So, those are our adverbs of frequency and some vocabulary to work on the pronunciation. So I have two songs here for you to listen. Tengo dos canciones acá para que ustedes escuchen y practiquen su pronunciación, así que porfa en su casa las escuchamos cuantas veces sea necesario. Excuse me. And our friend says, I always listen to music. Yo siempre escucho música. Right? I always listen to English music. How often do you listen to music? ¿Qué tan seguido escuchan música? All right. So here we have our grammar explaining again how to use every of our adverbs. So we say usually, okay, always. Okay, sorry. Okay, always. Use always to refer an action you do all the time, every time. Usa always para referirte a acciones que hagas todo el tiempo. For example, I always drink water. My brother always breaks my toys. My mom always cooks dinner for us. I always drink water. I always drink water. Siempre tomo agua. My brother always breaks my toys. Mi hermano siempre rompe mis juguetes. My mom always cooks dinner for us. Mi mamá siempre cocina la comida para nosotros. Usually, we use usually when you are going to refer of a thing you do most of your time, but not always. I usually drive to work. My brother usually speaks French. My cousin usually visits me on Saturdays. Right? Usualmente, we use usually para referirnos a cosas que hagamos casi todo el tiempo, pero no siempre. For example, my cousin usually visits me on Saturdays. Mi prima me visita casi todos los sábados. Normally, we use normally to refer to actions you do frequently, more or less 70% of the time. We use normally, normalmente, para referirnos to refer to actions we do frequently, que hacemos frecuentemente, o un 75% del tiempo. I normally finish my homework by Thursday. Normally, nosotros normalmente terminamos nuestros trabajos para los jueves. She normally arrives at home at 7:30 p.m. Ella normalmente llega a la casa a las 7:30 p.m. My dad normally helps us with our duties. Mi papá normalmente nos ayuda con nuestros trabajos. Often. Use often to refer to things you do many times in different occasions. Usa often para referirte a acciones que pasan en diferentes ocasiones. I often go to concert with my friends. Yo ocasionalmente voy a conciertos con mis amigos. Sorry. Mark washes his car very often. Mark lava su carro muy seguido. Luisa often cheats on her exams. Luisa casi usualmente o seguidamente hace trampa a los exámenes. Have you cheat on your exam? ¿Han hecho trampa a sus exámenes? Sometimes, we use sometimes to refer actions you do in an indefinite time. Usamos sometimes, algunas veces, para referirnos a acciones que pasan en tiempos indefinidos. Right? I go to the theater sometimes. Voy al teatro algunas veces. Sometimes I eat pizza for breakfast. Algunas veces como pizza para el desayuno. Sometimes Alice dances ballet. Sometimes, algunas veces, Alice baila ballet. Occasionally, we use occasionally when you're referring to actions you do sometimes spontaneously. Sometimes it's very few moments or of your time. Usamos ocasionalmente para referirnos a acciones que pasan espontáneamente. Right? My dog occasionally barks when he wants to play. Mi perro, ocasionalmente, ladra, bark, ladrar, burr, when he wants to play, cuando quiere jugar. Hardly ever. We use hardly ever to talk about actions you do once or twice in your life. Usamos hardly ever, casi nunca, para hablar sobre acciones que haces una o dos veces en tu vida. Right? I hardly ever help to clean the house. Ya hemos visto este ejemplo, casi nunca ayudo a arreglar la casa. My brother hardly ever calls me. Mi hermano rara vez me llama. My brother hardly ever visits me. Mi hermano muy rara vez me visita. And never. Never. Use never to actions that have zero space in your time. You do 0 times. Cosas que usted nunca hace. I never slept in someone else's bed. Nunca me duermo en la cama de alguien más porque, no sé, no me siento como. En pijamadas, por ejemplo, cuando uno va a a sleepover, and you cannot sleep in someone's bed. No puedo dormir en la cama de alguien más porque me gusta mi camita y me voy para mi casita. I never sleep in someone else's bed. My teacher never let us eat in class. Mi profe nunca nos deja comer en clase. My teacher never let us eat in class. And last one, my cat never pees in the house. My cat never pees in the house. Mi gato nunca hace sus necesidades en la casa, siempre afuera. All right? And to finish, what time is it? What time is it? Is it 6:20? Is it 7:45? Is it 7:49? Right? With our vocabulary, we're gonna guess what time is it and we're gonna write it down in letters. Vamos a averiguar qué hora es y la vamos a escribir en numeritos. All right? So that's basically the explanation for today's topic. This week's topic, sorry, about adverbs of frequency. Okay, I hope you find this useful for your week. To see if you have any questions, you can ask me. And I hope you can repeat this video if you need to, again, to explain what happened, right? Or how to use this topic. So I will see you next week with more English with the Christian School of Colombia. Bye. Bye.